Hey everyone, and welcome to your May 2022 readings. I decided to change up the scenery since it's just super beautiful out, and also speaking of change, I changed up the format this month. I might change it back, but this month we are focusing on all love readings across all signs. So that's what we're focused on. Remember that this is a collective reading for your sun, moon, or rising sign, right? So if this particular one doesn't resonate, I would check out your other two signs. Speaking of which, if you're wondering, I don't know, I follow tropical, I follow sidereal, which one? I would say just whichever you resonate with the most. So if you resonate more with sidereal and those associations, then follow the sun, moon, rising that's in that system, right? Or vice versa. So the timestamps will be down below as well. There are links also for how you can book a one-to-one reading with me. Of course, if we're doing collective reading, we can't hit the mark for every single like Aries or Aquarius all the way down, all the way through, right? So if you want something specific that is specific to your situation, I would recommend booking a reading with me personally. The links for that are down below. Also for how to get 20% off and 50% off of a one-to-one 90-minute reading with me. Last thing I'll say, oh yes, cards and cocktails. We didn't do it for the month of April. I know, I just got so busy. So we are doing it, cards and cocktails, hangout. It's a live hangout on Instagram that I do on Instagram. I might choose to do on YouTube. I still haven't gotten around to deciding whether I want to do it here or not because I have more people that follow me over there versus here. This is brand new, so we'll see. But if you want to stay up on that, follow me over on Instagram. I'm probably most likely going to be doing it either the first weekend of this month, which I know Mother's Day is there, so I might not do it then. I might do it when the moon is in Sag later in the month, which I think is around the 26th, 5th or 6th or 7th, something like that. So again, if you want to stay up on that, follow me over on Instagram. Last thing I'll say is that there are new monthly subscriptions that you can check out over on Patreon, and that's in the description as well, for how you can get ongoing divinatory guidance if you are going through a really stressful period, a transition period, with work, with life, with love, with anything, and you're wanting some like ongoing guidance. There are two options that I would recommend, right? One of them is a monthly subscription for weekly 30-minute readings, right? So it's like tapping in every single week on like what's up, right? And that's either live or recorded. And then the other is for a monthly reading with me for 90-minute reading, and that's either live or recorded. I only have a few spots for the lives, especially just because I need to make sure that I can deliver them. So if you want to get something like that done, feel free to hit me up. Without further ado, please continue on to your readings. Let me know how you like them. If you want me to stay focused on love, maybe we'll just keep that rolling for a little while too. I don't know. I'm still playing around with this channel, so I will talk to you guys next month. Thanks. Bye. Hello Capricorn, and welcome to your May 2022 reading. So if you skipped the beginning part of this video, you may notice that there's a change in the format this month. So I explained that in the beginning and also talked about a couple of other things, but this month we are focusing on love. So I'm doing love readings for all signs. Remember that this is a reading for sun, moon, or rising. Right? Sun, moon, or rising. First card was already out, so we're just gonna like drop that there. The first line is gonna be you. Second is gonna be the person that, your partner, person that you're dating, and so on. And then a couple of other extra cards that we're gonna get into. So we're doing anime edition also, by the way. I haven't started breaking these cards out for the recorded readings. I've done them for other readings, but until this month. So now keep only one person in mind. This is not like you get to apply this to any person, right? So I want you to be thinking of, it's the person who has like, who's most on your mind, who's most on your heart, who you're energetically and emotionally, like they are taking up some space for you, right? So, all right, second card out for you. And we're also going to be taking a look at your internal and external world, getting a sense of what's happening internally for you and what's happening just overall externally for you as well. Can tell us a hell of a lot about the filter that you are looking at everything in your life, but you know, how we filter things affects how we see the relationships that we have in our life, right? If we are feeling like the world is kind of bleak, then we may not really be seeing the possibilities, or if we're maybe too high on the possibilities, we may not be able to see the red flags, right? So we want to just kind of get a sense of what's there. Now, so even if you're dating and you're seeing several people or have several people of interest, even if you're in open relationships and you have several relationships, one person, okay. It's a collective reading for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising. If this particular message this month doesn't seem to resonate for you, then it just wasn't your message this month. I would check out your rising sign and your moon sign if this is your sun sign that you're watching. Obviously, if we're doing collective readings, can't really like capture every single person's situation. So want to be sure to, if you want something that's really specific, get a personal reading with me. Okay. All right. Let's make sure those are in frame, actually. I love these cards. I know they're a little bit busy and they might be a little bit hard to see what's going on, but don't worry, I will put them in view when we go over them. All right. And then your internal world, what's happening for you internally. Interesting. And your external world. All right. So, by the way, I've decided, it took me going through most of the zodiac signs for this month, but I have decided that I am going to do also a completely different format for next month. So I'm just playing around since it's a new channel to see what's fun, what feels resonant. So feel free to drop me a DM or a message in the comments to let me know. All right. So right off, I'm seeing here that it seems like there's a little bit of distance between the two of you. We have the Five of Coins, or Pentacles, right? Whichever you're used to. Coins and Pentacles are interchangeable, but we have the Five of Coins and we have the Eight of Swords, right? Now remember, this is you and this is them. And so starting with you over here, with the Eight of Swords, you're over here just kind of in the trappings of your own mind, right? In the Eight of Swords generally, and this, I know that this deck doesn't have some of the more typical kinds of imagery that you see on decks, but it is really cool to look at. I do love this deck. So I just wanted to give you a close-up of that. The Eight of Swords is kind of like, typically what you see is a woman who is surrounded and bound and blindfolded in very shallow, kind of muddy waters and surrounded by swords. Nobody's there guarding. There's the binding is very loose. Very easily she could walk away from the situation that she's in, right? So the Eight of Swords is kind of like, you could easily choose something different. You could easily shift your perspective. It's just that it's a kind of a place of choosing to see yourself as stuck inside of this situation or this problem or this whatever it is, right? So it's similar to feeling kind of like stuck, but it's really just indicating that these are all the trappings of your own mind. It's really just about how you are perceiving the situation, and you can completely change it. You have the absolute power to do that. And so some of the things that you're probably perceiving as this is just the way that it is, or I'm stuck in the situation, or I'm obligated to this or that, or whatever it is not so. So I would challenge you to question what's so. I mean, I feel like we should do that more often as human beings in general anyways, instead of believing what we think is fact or what we think are the only possibilities. Very often we have a lot more choices available to us than we think are actually there. And often we don't consider them because it's a harder path, or it seems like it's going to be more work or more confronting, right? Any of those kinds of things. So that's where we start off here. And the reason I say there's some distance is because that would create distance, right? That would create some distance if you're feeling this way and you're in the trappings of your own mind. That would probably create some energetic distance between you and this person here. Now, then we move over to them and we have the Five of Coins, right? And I just want to make sure that you guys can actually get, I know that's maybe a little bit hard to see because of the glare a little bit, but that's kind of what makes it cool, right? They are a little bit busy, still love them. So your person is also kind of experiencing some distance. Now, if I'll read this a couple of different ways, or I'll say this a couple of different ways. If you guys don't live together, if you live apart, if this is someone that you're dating, or maybe you guys are like in a committed situation, but you don't live together or whatever it is, there's probably been, you've noticed some distance in terms of like the amount of time that they spend or communicating or whatever it is. Maybe they're taking a long time to get back to your texts, or not texting as much, or not really spending as much time around you or whatever. Or if you guys live together, then you might notice that they almost seem like they're not completely there, right? You can feel like there is some distance, or they might be taking more time away from you, or doing their own thing or whatever. Not to say that doing your own thing isn't healthy, but I mean, like, this is in a way that's more not quite the healthy kind of distance. The Five of Coins can also just be about feeling like the stability of the situation is gone. You know, you typically see on the cards, the traditional cards, you know, a couple of figures that are out in the cold and the snow and rags, and there's a really warm looking, you know, glowing church behind them, or a building at least behind them, right? And so it's like this feeling of like, it's all on me, I'm out in the cold, I'm all alone, I have to do it all myself, or I'm all out on my own. And also it just kind of hits on those survival spaces, which means that there's a lack of stability. So they're feeling some kind of lack of stability, or at least they've been feeling that way, and that's created some distance. And this is also about victim mentality. So they could be just in this space of feeling like, oh, I'm the victim, and this is like happening to me, and any kind of things that have been going on in your connection, they might be taking that on as like it's happening to them and they're the victim here, and kind of being in that kind of character, right? So we start off, and I really, you know, I want to give everyone the most amazing readings. It's not like I want to give people information where it's a little bit hard to swallow, but we start off with it's a little bit of a challenging situation here. Now, I don't know if you know, again, take this as it relates to your situation. So if you're single or if you're in a relationship, it might apply slightly differently. But it just seems like there just hasn't been as much of the connecting hasn't been happening. Meanwhile, over here, like, you've got the moon showing up, right, in this space of challenge. Both of these cards are in a challenge position, and essentially like what feels really difficult. So, you know, the moon in a challenge position especially can be about these kind of, it can be about secrets. It can be secrets that have been buried, but it can also be about emotions that need to be unearthed, feelings that you've been avoiding, things that you need to face and address, the things that are hidden in the shadows, the shadow aspects of yourself, the blind spots, right? It can also be an indicator of just like needing to shed the skin, right? There's typically, the moon card is this like double-sided, our primitive and primal aspects, like our more wild selves and our more domesticated selves, and the shedding of the layers of things that no longer serve us, to move forward and merge these things together in a way that is harmonious, that, you know, where we can stand inside of that and face the shadows, face what's in the shadows head on, right? So it's just kind of like resurfacing all of these things. So there are emotions or secrets or something that needs to be addressed in your internal world. And this is part, I think, of what's causing the distance that is existing, at least for your part, right? And they might sense it, especially if there's somebody who is intuitive and sensitive. They might be sensing that. And you know how these things go. They trickle out and they affect the way that we are with people, right? They affect our interactions with them, how close we are. They, you know, it can, when somebody feels our withdrawal, even on an energetic level, it can affect the way that we talk to each other, the way that we love each other, the way that we fuck each other, you know? So all of this can be affected. So this is what's happening in the challenge position for you. Is there something there for you to to really unearth and face and confront for yourself internally. As for them, they also have a very watery card that's showing up, which is the Page of Cups. You know, the Page of Cups in a challenge position is actually about kind of being in this world of maybe like delusion a little bit, like kind of being in this place of either being overly romantic or overly idealizing the relationship, this being kind of in this world of fancy, right? So the pages are typically very youthful cards. Like you think about each of the suits that we have, the cups are the water suit. And so all of the kinds of associations and characteristics that are a part of water, they represent the really youthful aspect of it, right? Like almost the kid-like aspect of it. So you think about a kid emotionally, the way that they would maybe approach a relationship or the way that they would be inside of one might mean that they would be kind of lost in the fantasy or attached to the fantasy of the relationship that they've built up inside, and that it disconnects them from really being able to see things as they are, right? And so they're also dealing with some internal kind of shadow stuff and challenged by that. Moving forward, it looks like, you know, and also along with this, right, we have them in with the Knight of Swords. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't actually bring these up for you. I wanted to show you. So that is the Page of Cups. And then this is the Moon card here. So then we have the Knight of Swords, right? As far as like where we can look at what's needed from them. We could say this is spiritual advice. We could say that this is what's suggested. But because of the fact that it's the Knight of Swords, this is about like communication, right? Swords are about the communication, and certainly about needing to speak up for yourself, say what's there, say what's so. Right? The knights can tend to rush in, but like if you're somebody who is like stagnant or hesitant to build momentum or to just take action, the knights will be the ones that'll come in and ignite the action for you, right? They will step in and like move things forward and move them fast. So when we're looking at this, it's like they need to actually, they haven't been, what this tells me is that they haven't been really great about communication. They haven't really been clear about who they are, what they want exactly from the relationship or for themselves. And they need to like get this clarity and actually communicate it. And it just seems like they haven't been doing that. Also, like very obviously because of them being kind of lost and attached to this fantasy idea, and you know, being in a space of like victimhood and just kind of not secluding themselves necessarily, but kind of, oh, there's a word that has, I'm losing the word, but just stepping back into the shadows and just kind of shrinking into this place. Like, I'm the victim. I don't get what I want. I'm not getting, you know, like I had this whole fantasy about how it's supposed to go, and now I'm not getting what I want, but I'm not going to say what it is that I want. Not only that, I'm probably not even really that clear about what it is that I want, right? So I don't know. This is just kind of seeming, they need to pull it together. And unless they do, I mean, this is just basic relationship skills, right? Like basic communication skills. You know, we all, I think, probably at some point or another have gotten lost in the fantasy of, you know, the idea of us and as somebody else, right? And so there's the danger that we can all fall into. So I'm not saying they're a bad person. I'm just saying like they need to step up and learn from this, right? So anyway, we move on to your card, which is the Seven of Cups. So Seven of Cups is like, it's a couple of questions to ask yourself. Are you indulging too much? Either in your vices, right? Or in the world of fantasy yourself, or in the world of daydreams yourself. Are you actually in action about the things that you want? Have you chosen what you want? it looks to me like there are some things to face, both emotionally and mentally for you, and getting clarity on what it is that you want to feel. Which path do you want to take? Which cup do you want to choose? Right? You can't just stay back in an action and be in daydream world and be lost in the world of either escape or in the world of fantasy and daydream, right? There has to be action taken. And if you're not sure about which action to take, then, you know, you need to get some clarity about what it is that you truly want. What do you actually want from relationship? Now, it's interesting because when we look at the internal and external world cards, right? And let's just lay these out here. In fact, I will. Sorry about my creaky floor still. I haven't got my office set up quite yet. So we'll move these all over. Okay. Now, what's interesting is that I see here that one of the things that you're needing to get clear about what you want, right, in relationship and all these things. And the reason why I'm jumping over to this is because internally we had the Lovers actually show up for you. Now, typically a lot of people think the Lovers is all just about love, and it's not. However, we are doing a love reading, and this is something that's up for you internally. Internally, right? This was an internal card as well. And so when we're looking at the Lovers is actually about desiring, feeling a visceral call for a more mature kind of love, right? The kind of love that is transcendent, the kind of love where there is this synergy of energy, right? Not just a mirroring, but the energy moves from one person into the other person, and that person is so filled up and brought to life that it's basically like it calls forth the like the kind of love that is like heavenly, that is transcendent, that is like higher frequency. So that's probably the best way that I can describe it, without the seeing a picture of like the actual typical cards. It's a little bit more demonstrative, like the actual traditional deck. But this is about calling in that higher kind of love, that higher frequency love, that transcendent love, the kind where you both transcend where you were and who you were and are uplifted to new levels. Because of each other, because of the contributions and the roles that each of you play, right? Because one person is maybe contributing in one way, the other person sparkles and shines and glows up, and therefore like each kind of leveling up the other person, leveling up, right? Up. So that's the kind of feeling, that's the kind of love, that's the kind of thing that you're wanting in this experience. And what I can see is like, normally I read the internal and external cards as like, this is your overall, like what's happening overall in your life, and we'll see how this affects the relationship reading. However, this is what's up for you internally. So I feel like this relationship is taking up quite a bit of your energy. It's taking up your, like, whether you realize it or not. Sometimes we don't even realize how much mental energy or emotional energy or energetic like reserves are being utilized, kind of like programs running in the background with our computers, right? It's like we don't even realize how much is being taken up at any given time until we actually release that and we get some relief from it, and then we realize, oh my gosh, like I can't believe how much energy that was taken up, right? So this is definitely an important thing for you to figure out. This relationship, this connection that you have, whether you're in a serious relationship or you're dating, this is something that's important for you to figure out, for your personal growth, for what you're yearning for and what you're wanting, right? Externally, we have the Four of Wands. And so with that, I'm seeing like externally is in general in your life right now, there's like some kind of rite of passage that you are about about to step into or that you're experiencing already, right? So we forget sometimes that rite of passage can be a lot of different things, right? A rite of passage can be going from being someone who worked for a company to someone who owns your own business. That's a rite of passage. Someone that goes from being single to being in a relationship. Someone that goes from relationship to being, partnered, life partnered, or someone who was their own individual self and now they're going to be a mother or a father, right? So these are all rites of passage. There are like a ton of things. Going from always having lived with roommates and partners to finally having your own place for the first time. That's a rite of passage, right? So there are lots of different ways. It's just basically a transition that is meaningful and marks your life in a certain way. And so there's something about that, right? And interestingly enough, for some of you, this could represent a purchase in property of some kind. So purchasing land, purchasing property, something like that. So for some of you, it could mean that, just because this card is associated with that, which is in and of itself, that is a rite of passage, right? That is a different kind of rite of passage. But this is what's going on for you in your external world, right? And we can see how that can apply to a lot of different aspects. But going through that, it changes us, right? Every time that we go through any kind of rite of passage, it shifts who we are on some fundamental level or levels, right? It informs who we're becoming, and or can completely shift things for us where we're almost not recognizable. So depending on how grand this particular rite of passage is that you're experiencing or that you're about to step into, that might be something that you're kind of looking at on the horizon. This is definitely going to affect the way that you see the relationship, right? So going through any kind of rite of passage, obviously, like I said, it changes you, which could change your feelings about like what it is that you actually wanted and whether this is something that you really want anymore. This can also, though, shift things in such a way where, because of going through that, it might redefine how you want to even approach relationships, right? And that could change the dynamics in the relationship for the better as well, right? So I think to get some clarifying cards, I'm going to use another deck that is this one's a manga deck. And let's see here. So I'd like to know about this experience that you're going through. It's either like celebrating and like reaping the harvest after you've gone through some kind of transition or put in the hard work, or this is like some kind of rite of passage that you're going through. Either way, this experience is a marked and important experience in your life. So I'm curious about what kind of effect is this going to actually have on the relationship, right? Is this going to bring you closer together? I was actually going to save that, but screw it, it's out. So we're doing it. Interesting. Six of Swords is about going away, going in a different direction, sailing to new shores. Now, this could be a literal move, especially because I was talking about how sometimes this can be tied to a purchase of property of some kind, right? So this could be a literal move, but often this is about needing to gain perspective, and in order to do that, needing to step away, to go in a different direction. So, I would like to be able to give a better answer than that. All right, we'll come back to that. Let's take a look at, in terms of where things are going over the course of the month of May, where are things going to land for the relationship by end of May, right? So by the end of May, where will this relationship be in terms of like, will it be resolved? Will you be closer? Will you be splitting. Okay. So we have 2 cards for that. I'm just going to place that there. Let's get a little bit more information about this moon card and what is it that is kind of lurking in the shadows there that needs to be looked at for you. And what is it that they have to say to you, right? Ooh, those just all came out. All right. What are the things basically that they're not expressing? And then let's actually get, what do you want? What do you want, Capricorn? Do you know what you want? What do you want? All right, and the last 2, I'm just feeling like, let's take a look at what's going on for them internally and externally, right? Like what's going on in their inner world. Let's take a peek. I like taking little peeks like that. Internal and their external world. All right. So these are going to be all over in the extended, so I'll continue the reading over there. We're also going to pull the way that we have been. I'm still keeping with this, although I will say that next month the format is going to change. So let's take a look at the deities that are popping up for you. That was too many cards. We're looking at one deity that is supportive for you throughout the month. So the next few cards that I pull, these oracle cards, these are for your overall life for the month of May to help you navigate any challenges that are coming up with regard to friends, family, business, money, love as well, right? Everything. So this is not just about your love reading. This is guidance for your overall experience for May. Right? These cards are the God and Goddess cards. Now, if gods and goddesses are not a part of your belief structure, think about them as archetypes that you can emulate and borrow their strengths and gifts and wisdom to help you navigate the month, right? And we're also going to take a look at a direct message. So I allow now, like this is kind of like the channel for direct messages from your guides, from your ancestors that are coming through. We're also taking a look at blind spots. Shadow work is what some people call it. I know that that term is so overused. It's unfortunate because it's so great. But the shadows, like the things that we tend to sweep under the rug or that we look away from or that we think, oh, I'll deal with that later. I don't need to deal with that now. Really, these blind spots, when we confront them, can free up so much energy that they can move everything forward in our life and like cleanse everything out and bring everything new in that is needed for what we truly want in our lives, right? So I'm feeling like there's almost like 2 runes that I'm feeling here. Let's do it. I haven't done this for any other sign in any of my readings, but we're doing 2 runes for you. All right, let's check it out. All right, Capricorn. So hopefully this is a little bit helpful and helped to bring you some insight. I literally just decided today that I'm changing up the format again next month, and I think that you guys will be pleasantly surprised. So stick around for next month. Hit that subscribe so that you get notified of when the new videos come out, because next month there's going to be not only more content but more reveals, and I'm gonna switch everything up. I just decided that today. So I will see you hopefully next month, and if I don't see you then maybe I'll see you over on Patreon for this month's reading. So I'll talk to you soon, Capricorn. Have an amazing month. I wish you lots of clarity, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.